If you have always been seen as the bad apple, the problem child, the root cause of every single argument in your house, then this video is a long overdue apology to you. People usually look at kids who talk back, rebellious teenagers, or adults who carry a deep well of anger, and they rush to the conclusion that these are simply broken people. But today, we are going to look deeper into one of the most cruel psychological mechanisms that has ever existed in a dysfunctional family. It is called the scapegoat syndrome. The truth is, you are not broken. Your core is not flawed. You are simply the only person in that unstable family system who dared to refuse to play along, while everyone else chose to close their eyes just to survive. Your nervous system chose to scream. When outsiders look at a family, they usually only see the tip of the iceberg. They see a kid slamming a door, a teenager running away, a student with failing grades, or a child who always uses sharp words to fight back against their parents. And, just like that, the label of the problem child is glued tightly to your forehead. But they never stop to ask the most fundamental question. What exactly triggered that extreme anger? Behind closed doors, in a family ruled by narcissism, emotional neglect, addiction, or the emotional instability of the adults. Everything is as volatile as standing on a ticking time bomb. Other children in the house might choose to survive by becoming invisible, demanding nothing, speaking no words, or they might choose to become the perfect golden child, trying to please the parents in exchange for a tiny bit of fake peace. But you are different. The nervous system of the rebel is designed to reject the normalization of toxicity. When you argued back, when you broke things, when you cried in deep resentment and demanded right from wrong, that was not uneducated or insolent behavior, like adults often labeled it. In terms of neuropsychology, your anger was actually a desperate cry for help. It was the fierce protest of an exhausted nervous system against an environment that was suffocating any sense of safety. You rebelled because your body sensed the lies. You were angry because you saw the injustice that no one else dared to admit. But instead of listening to your cry, your family chose to turn you into the cause of all their suffering. Why does a family need a bad child so much? Why do they cling to the belief that you are the source of all their troubles? The answer lies in a core concept of the family systems theory, developed by psychiatrist Murray Bowen. A highly unstable and traumatized family is like a boiling pressure cooker. The unspoken conflicts, the marital disappointments, the unhealed wounds of previous generations. All of these create a massive amount of pressure for that cooker not to explode. It absolutely needs to find a release valve. And your family, entirely unconsciously, chose you to be that valve. This is where a psychological defense mechanism called projection begins to operate. Projection happens when a person cannot face their own ugly emotions, their failures, and their internal shame. So they throw all that dirt onto someone else. Instead of the father or the mother having to reflect on their own toxic behavior, they dump all the guilt onto your head. If you are the one with the problem, then they automatically become the pitiful victims. If you are the reason the family is chaotic, then they do not have to face the reality that their marriage shattered a long time ago. Highly damaging phrases like, "This family would be so happy without you," or "You are a destructive force," are actually just lies meant to protect the facade of the adults. By labeling you as the scapegoat, the family does not need to look at themselves. They do not need to change. And most importantly, they do not need to heal themselves. You are forced to carry the entire darkness, the anger, and the shame of an entire bloodline. In psychology, we call rebels like you the truth tellers, but heartbreakingly, you are the truth teller who gets silenced and abandoned by your own family. That isolation destroys the soul of a child far worse than any physical beating ever could. The most terrifying part of becoming the emotional dumpster for the entire family is not the harsh words echoing during dinner, nor the judging eyes of relatives. The most cruel part is that, after living under those accusations for a long enough time, you actually start to believe that they are right. When a child constantly has to hear the question, "What is wrong with you?" their nervous system is not mature enough to protect itself and say, "I am fine. It is this environment that is wrong." Instead, the child's brain internalizes that criticism. You step out into the world with a massive psychological ghost called toxic shame. Toxic shame is not like normal guilt. Normal guilt says, "I did a bad thing." But toxic shame whispers in your ear every single day that my core identity is a bad thing. The structure of your brain is molded by those accusations. The amygdala, the alarm center of the brain, is always stuck in the on position. You walk out into society, but your body still lives as if it is in a war zone. Because deep down, you truly believe that you are defective, a piece of trash that no one wants to keep. You begin to unconsciously punish yourself in very subtle ways. You destroy healthy romantic relationships before your partner even has a chance to find out your weaknesses, because you think you do not deserve a peaceful love, without drama, without blame. Every time you enter a new environment, you always have your guard up, always carrying a defensive mindset against attacks that have not even happened yet. People might mistakenly think you are cold, distant, and easily angered. Deep down, you feel incredibly lonely and always have this sense of being an outsider everywhere in this world. Your nervous system never believes in safety. Until you realize that the title of the problem child you carry with you is not your true nature, but a curse that the toxic family system forced you to carry on your shoulders. Today, you have the right to take off that thorny armor. Becoming the human shield for all the dysfunction of the family is not proof of your unruliness. It is proof of an extraordinary survival strength, a soul so resilient that even when trampled upon, even when turned into a monster, it still refuses to surrender. Your stubbornness, your fierce resistance, is exactly what kept you from being crushed, from being swallowed whole by the rot of that system. It is time to change your story. You are not a permanent victim. You are a survivor. You are the hero born to see through the lies, to endure the pain of isolation, and to break the cycle of trauma that has lasted for generations. But being the hero does not mean you have to keep fighting. You do not need to fix the adults who refuse to fix themselves. It is time for you to hand back all that shame, all those mistakes, and all those toxic expectations to where they actually belong. They do not belong to you. They never belong to you. Learn how to reparent yourself. Healing therapies like somatic experiencing, EMDR, or internal family systems are not there to fix you, but to retrain your nervous system that the war is over. You are safe now. You are allowed to be at peace. You are allowed to let go of any responsibility to heal your family. If you are a scapegoat, it is not your fault. Leave a comment below saying, "It is not my fault." So we know we are never alone in this journey of breaking generational cycles. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so we can spread the power of healing together. You have survived the storm, and now it is time for you to finally live for yourself.